Welcome to our weekly Christ in Our Neighborhood conversation where we break open Sunday's Gospel with Bishop John. Everything you need to do this with family and friends is on the dphx.org website in the Christ in Our Neighborhood section. Welcome back, Bishop.
Well, it's always great to see you. Boy, it's been quite a week, but getting back together with you guys, this is great.
We're so glad you're here. And this week, Bishop and Jen, we're going to hear from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 7, verses 31 to 37. So, Bishop, if you could start us off with reading the reflection.
Of course. The Gospel of Mark is filled with miracles. This week's passage is no exception. Tied nicely to our first reading, we see Isaiah's prophecy fulfilled as a deaf man with a speech impediment is cured. At the hands of Jesus, immediately the man's ears were opened, his speech impediment was removed, and he spoke plainly.
And curiously, Jesus warns the people not to tell anyone. This warning is unique to the Gospel of Mark, who, according to Scripture scholars, unveils the identity of the Lord in his Gospel account slowly and deliberately. Called the Messianic Secret, the identity of Jesus as King, Messiah in Hebrew, and Christ in Greek, in Mark's Gospel will only be fully known when he dies on the cross.
Jesus' warning has a purpose. He does not want the people to make him out to be a king in the worldly sense, powerful and mighty. However, after Jesus' stern warning not to tell anyone about the miracle, they go out and proclaim the news anyway. Naturally, if we saw such a miracle, we would be hard-pressed to keep it a secret.
All right, so Bishop, would you like to, what's our question for this week?
Well, it's pretty simple to answer. Considering Jesus' warning, how would you have reacted to the miracle witnessed in the gospel today? Well, I would be awestruck, and I probably, despite the warning, I would have done what these guys did, right? I would go off and blab about it. How could you keep it a secret? I think, to be honest, that's probably what I would do.
I think so too. I think I would have been just completely amazed. And I think of those videos that you see of the babies that have, been unable to hear, and then they get the cochlear implant, and all of a sudden it registers. You just think of the joy of that man. I think it would be so hard to keep that secret. And then just imagine what it was like for him for his whole life to be unable to express himself, to have all these words and thoughts and feelings and emotions locked inside, and all of a sudden this joy at being able to say, what he wants to say. So I think I would have wanted to obey Jesus, but I would have told my husband, I just know it. He's my secret keeper. So Pipo, you definitely in. So yeah, I think he's my confidant, but I'd make him promise not to tell anyone else. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I know myself. I'd be like, hey, first of all, I'd say, okay, well, you all saw it, so we can all talk about it amongst ourselves, right? That's okay, isn't it? And then I'd be like, well, maybe if I just tell this person, if I know they won't tell anybody, maybe also that. But I find that it's comforting that he tells his apostles not to do stuff, and they do stuff. It gives me a lot of hope.
They must have been Irish. As an Irishman, I can tell you, the one thing you want to do is tell me not to do something, and then I'm going to do it.
Yeah. But I also wonder, these are people who walked with the Lord. I'd like to hope that if I walked with the Lord and he told me to do something or told me not to do something, that maybe I wouldn't. Because there are times in my life where I've not agreed with, let's say, my parents or a pastor or somebody in authority, and I've still been obedient, and then come later to understand the wisdom behind the decision. So I'd really, really like to hope that in that moment, I might have been, okay, Lord, I really want to tell everybody, because how awesome is this? But maybe I might have not. I don't know.
I don't know. They didn't have a first century Catholic son, but I would have been sorely tempted to grab a quote. Sorely tempted. All right. Well, Bishop, what is our task for this week?
Well, there is a secret that must be shared, really. Did you know that when you were baptized, you were born again? No longer are you merely a person with a body and a soul. You also now have a share in the divine nature of Christ, who humbled himself to share in our human nature. So in essence, the Lord is wanting us to share that secret, right? So when you are at a dinner or a lunch, here's a way to blab about who you are, and that is make a sign of the cross and say a prayer. Share your secret in a visible way. The Lord is letting us do that now, right? He gave us permission to go out. So let others know who you are. Let others know you're Christian.
Oh, great advice.
Love it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let everybody know we're Christian. Let's blab away.
That's right.
All right. Well, we will see you next week. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you, Bishop.
For more information on Christ in Our Neighborhood and resources to start your own group, visit the Christ in Our Neighborhood section at the Diocese of Phoenix website.